What happens when royalty meets reality television and a prince's composure crumbles on live television? In just 34 seconds, a single comment would turn a routine interview into the most explosive moment in talk show history, ending with security escorting a member of the royal family off set. This is the story of how Prince Harry went from composed guest to ejected troublemaker on Diana Sawyer's show, and how one of television's most respected hosts refused to let entitlement win. The studio lights were bright that evening. Diana Sawyer sat across from Prince Harry, her notepad resting on her lap, her expression warm but professional. The audience was packed, every seat filled with people eager to hear from the prince. This was supposed to be a friendly conversation, a chance for Harry to discuss his charity work and his life away from the palace. But from the very first question, something felt off. Diana opened with a smile. "Thank you so much for being here tonight. I know our audience is thrilled to have you. Let's start with something everyone wants to know. How are you adjusting to life with more privacy?" Harry leaned back in his chair, his posture stiff. He looked around the studio as if inspecting it, his expression unimpressed. "Well, Diana, I think the real question is why the media is still so obsessed with asking me these things. Haven't you all had enough?" The audience shifted uncomfortably. A few people exchanged glances. Diana's smile didn't waver, though her eyes showed a flicker of surprise. "I understand the scrutiny must be difficult. That's actually why I thought this would be a good opportunity for you to share your perspective in your own words." "My own words," Harry repeated, his tone sharp and dismissive. "Right. Except you've already decided what story you want to tell, haven't you? That's how this works. You all sit in your little production meetings, map out the narrative, and then I'm supposed to just play along." Diana shifted slightly in her seat, maintaining her composure. "I can assure you, we're here to listen to whatever you'd like to share. There's no agenda here except giving you a platform to speak directly to people who care about what you have to say." Harry laughed, but there was no humor in it. The sound was bitter, almost harsh. "A platform? How generous of you. How absolutely wonderful. Tell me, Diana, how much is the network paying you for this platform? Because I'm not seeing any of it. Funny how that works, isn't it?" A murmur rippled through the audience. Some people looked confused. Others looked uncomfortable. Diana's hands remained folded neatly in her lap. "This isn't about payment. This is about conversation. This is about giving you a chance to connect with people." "Connect with people," Harry said, his voice dripping with sarcasm. "Is that what you call it? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks more like exploitation. It looks like you trying to boost your ratings off my name." A murmur rippled through the audience. Some people looked confused. Others looked uncomfortable. Diana's hands remained folded neatly in her lap. "This isn't about payment. This is about conversation. This is about giving you a chance to connect with people." "Connect with people," Harry said, his voice dripping with sarcasm. "Is that what you call it? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks more like exploitation. It looks like you trying to boost your ratings off my name." Diana took a breath, her professional mask still firmly in place. "I've been doing this work for a very long time. I don't need to exploit anyone to do my job well. Now, you've been working on several charitable initiatives that have made a real difference in people's lives. Can we talk about that? Can we talk about the positive impact you've been making?" "Can we talk about that?" Harry mocked, waving his hand dismissively. "Can we talk about whatever Diana wants to talk about?" "Sure. Let's talk about whatever you want. It's your show, after all. I'm just the dancing monkey brought in for entertainment value, right? Just another celebrity for you to parade around." Diana's expression began to shift, the warmth in her eyes cooling slightly. She set her notepad down beside her chair, her movements deliberate. "I don't think anyone here sees you that way. We invited you because people genuinely want to hear from you. They want to know about your work, your passions, your goals, But if you'd prefer not to be here, if this is uncomfortable for you, we can certainly end this conversation. Oh, now you're threatening me? Harry's voice rose, and several audience members flinched at the sudden change in volume. That's rich. That's really rich. The great Diana Sawyer threatening a prince on her little television show. Do you know how that sounds? Do you have any idea how absurd this is? I'm not threatening anyone, Diana said firmly. I'm simply saying that if you're not comfortable, we don't have to continue. This should be a respectful dialogue. Harry leaned forward, his eyes narrowing. Respectful? You want to talk about respect? How about the fact that you people have made careers off dissecting my family? How about the respect you've shown us over the years? Diana took a breath, maintaining her composure. I understand you've had difficult experiences with the media. Many people have. But I'm trying to have a genuine conversation with you right now, in this moment. Can we focus on that? Focus on that, Harry said, shaking his head. You're just like all the rest, pretending to care, pretending to understand, but really, you just want the ratings, don't you? The audience was completely silent now, the tension in the room thick enough to cut. Diana's jaw tightened slightly, but her voice remained measured. I've been doing this for over 3 decades. I've interviewed presidents, world leaders, activists, and everyday people with extraordinary stories. I've never approached any conversation looking for anything other than truth and understanding. Truth? Harry scoffed. Don't make me laugh. You wouldn't know truth if it hit you in the face. Diana's expression hardened. I'm going to ask you to be respectful. You're welcome to disagree with me. You're welcome to challenge me. But I won't tolerate personal attacks. You won't tolerate it? Harry stood up slightly in his chair, his voice getting louder. Who do you think you are? Do you know who I am? I'm royalty. I don't have to tolerate this from someone like you. The audience gasped. Diana remained seated, her posture straight, her gaze direct. Someone like me? What does that mean? It means you're a talk show host, Harry said, his words biting. You're entertainment. You're not important. You think because you have cameras and an audience that you matter? You're nothing compared to what I come from. Diana stood up now, her notepad falling to the floor. Her voice was quiet but firm. I've given you every opportunity to have a respectful conversation. I've been patient and professional, but I will not sit here and be spoken to this way. Not by you, not by anyone. Oh, what are you going to do? Harry challenged, standing up fully now. Kick me off your precious show? Good luck with that. Do you know what kind of backlash you'll face? I don't care about backlash, Diana said, her voice rising for the first time. I care about dignity. I care about respect. And I care about showing our audience that no one, regardless of their title or status, has the right to demean another person. Harry took a step toward her, his finger pointed. You are making a huge mistake. Do you understand what you're doing? I could ruin you. One phone call and your career is over. The audience began to boo. Diana stood her ground, unflinching. Are you threatening me now? On live television? Because if you are, I think everyone here just heard it. I'm not threatening you, Harry snapped. I'm telling you facts. You're nobody. This show is nothing. And when I walk out of here, everyone will know what a joke you are. Diana turned to someone off camera, her voice clear and steady. Please call security. Harry's face went red. You're calling security on me? On me? Do you have any idea what this looks like? It looks like someone who can't behave appropriately is being asked to leave, Diana said calmly. Just like anyone else would be. I'm not anyone else, Harry shouted. I'm a prince. You can't treat me like some common guest. In this studio, everyone is treated the same, Diana replied. Title doesn't give you permission to be abusive. 2 security guards appeared at the edge of the stage. The audience watched in stunned silence as they approached. Harry looked at them, then back at Diana, his expression a mixture of shock and rage. "You're actually doing this," he said, his voice almost a whisper. "You're actually throwing me out." "You're throwing yourself out," Diana corrected. "Your behavior made this choice, not me." Harry pointed at her again, his hand shaking. "Everyone will hear about this. The papers, the internet, everyone will know what you did." "They'll know what happened," Diana said. "They'll know that you came here as a guest and chose to be disrespectful. They'll know that when given chances to correct your behavior, you doubled down. And they'll know that no amount of privilege exempts someone from basic human decency." One of the security guards stepped forward. "Sir, we need you to come with us." Harry jerked his arm away. "Don't touch me. Don't you dare touch me." "Then please walk out on your own," the guard said politely, but firmly. Harry looked around the studio, at the cameras still rolling, at the audience staring at him, at Diana standing tall with her arms crossed. For a moment, it seemed like he might apologize, might try to salvage the situation, but then his face hardened again. "This is ridiculous," he muttered. "Absolutely ridiculous." He started walking toward the exit, the security guards flanking him. But he stopped halfway, turning back to Diana one more time. "You just made the biggest mistake of your life," he called out. Diana didn't flinch. The only mistake would have been allowing this behavior to continue. "Goodbye, Harry." Harry stared at her for a long moment, then shook his head and continued walking. The audience remained silent as he disappeared backstage, the security guards close behind. The heavy studio door closed with a loud thud that echoed through the space. Diana stood alone on the stage, the empty chair across from her, a stark reminder of what had just happened. She took a deep breath, picked up her notepad from the floor, and turned to face the audience. "Well," she said, her voice still steady, despite everything. "That was unexpected." A few nervous laughs rippled through the crowd. Diana managed a small smile. "I want to apologize to all of you," she continued. "You came here tonight expecting a thoughtful interview, and instead you witnessed something I never anticipated. But I want you to understand why I made the decision I made." She walked closer to the audience, her expression sincere. "In over 30 years of doing this job, I've interviewed people from every walk of life. Some conversations have been difficult. Some have been emotional. Some have involved disagreements. But never, not once, have I allowed someone to use their position or their status as a weapon against basic respect." The audience began to applaud. Diana held up her hand gently. "It doesn't matter if you're a prince or a president or a regular person. When you sit in that chair, you're a guest. And guests, regardless of who they are, don't get to be cruel. They don't get to make threats. They don't get to treat people as beneath them." More applause, louder this time. Diana's eyes were bright, emotional, but controlled. "I know some of you might think I should have handled that differently. Maybe I should have tried harder to de-escalate. Maybe I should have given him more chances. But I also know that sometimes the most important thing we can do is stand up and say, 'This is not okay.' Because if I had let that continue, if I had smiled and nodded while being spoken to that way, what message would that send?" Someone in the audience shouted, "You did the right thing." Others joined in agreement. Diana nodded, visibly moved. "Thank you. That means a lot. And I hope, despite how this evening went, that we can still have some good come from it. I hope we can remember that respect is not negotiable, that kindness is not weakness, and that standing up for yourself is not the same as being confrontational." She walked back to her chair and sat down, smoothing her jacket. "We had planned to fill this hour with conversation. Obviously, that's not going to happen now. But I don't want to waste your time or pretend that what just occurred didn't happen. So instead, I'd like to open this up. If anyone in the audience has questions, thoughts, or reactions, I'm here to listen." Hands shot up across the studio. Diana pointed to a woman in the third row. "Diana," the woman said, standing up, "I just want to say thank you. My daughter is 12 years old, and she's watching this at home right now. She just texted me saying you're her hero. Thank you for showing her that you don't have to accept being treated badly by anyone." Diana's eyes glistened. "That's very kind. Please tell your daughter that she should never accept that kind of treatment either. From anyone." Another hand went up, a younger man near the back. "Do you think he'll apologize?" Diana considered this carefully. "I honestly don't know. I hope so. Not for my sake, but for his. Because carrying that kind of anger, that kind of entitlement, it's not healthy. It doesn't lead anywhere good." "But what if he comes after you like he threatened?" someone else called out. Diana smiled, but there was steel in it. "Then I'll deal with it. But I'm not going to live in fear of someone's threats. I made a decision based on principle, and I stand by it. Whatever comes next, I'll face it." A woman in the front row raised her hand tentatively. "Can I ask, was there a specific moment when you decided enough was enough?" Diana nodded slowly. "Yes. It was when he said I was nothing, when he tried to use his title to diminish me as a person. Because in that moment, I realized this wasn't about having a difficult conversation or working through disagreement. This was about someone who genuinely believed they were superior to everyone else in this room, and I couldn't let that stand." "What do you think made him act that way?" asked a middle-aged man. "I don't know," Diana said honestly. "Maybe he's going through something difficult. Maybe he's felt disrespected in the past and was projecting that onto me. Maybe he's just someone who never learned that a title doesn't make you better than anyone else. Whatever the reason, it doesn't excuse the behavior." The questions continued for several minutes, Diana answering each one with thoughtfulness and grace. She talked about the importance of boundaries, about how respect works both ways, about how sometimes the hardest thing to do is the right thing to do. Finally, she looked at the camera directly, addressing not just the studio audience, but everyone watching at home. "I want to say something to anyone out there who has ever been made to feel small by someone who thinks they're more important than you. You matter. Your dignity matters. Your right to be treated with respect matters. Don't ever let anyone convince you otherwise. Not a boss, not a partner, not a celebrity, and not a prince." The studio erupted in applause. People stood up, cheering. Diana stood as well, her hand over her heart, clearly touched by the response. "Thank you," she said quietly. "Thank you for being here tonight, for supporting this decision, and for reminding me why I do this job. Even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard." As the applause continued, Diana looked at the empty chair one more time. There was no satisfaction in her expression, no smugness or victory, just a quiet sadness that things had gone the way they did. But there was also something else. Resolve, strength, the unshakable certainty that she had done exactly what needed to be done. The cameras kept rolling as the audience slowly settled down. Diana took her seat again, crossed her legs, and picked up her notepad. For a moment, she simply sat there, collecting her thoughts. Then she looked up at the camera and smiled. Not a big smile, not a performative one, but something real and genuine. "Well," she said, "I suppose we all learned something tonight. Sometimes the interview you don't have teaches you more than the one you do." Someone in the audience laughed, breaking the tension. Diana's smile widened. "Thank you all for being part of this, whatever this was. I hope you go home tonight, knowing that you witnessed something important. Not because of who was involved, but because of what it represented. The idea that everyone, absolutely everyone, deserves to be treated with basic human respect." She set down her notepad one final time and stood up. "Good night, everyone. Thank you for being here." As Diana walked off the stage, the audience gave her one final standing ovation. The cameras captured her exit, her head held high, her steps confident and sure. The empty chair sat in the spotlight, a silent testament to what had just transpired. The greatest interview that never was. The conversation that ended before it could truly begin. But in its place was something perhaps more valuable. A reminder that dignity matters. That respect is earned through behavior, not bestowed through birthright. And that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply say no to mistreatment and walk away with your integrity intact. The studio lights dimmed slowly, the audience filing out in animated conversation, everyone processing what they had just witnessed. Some were shocked, some were angry, some were inspired, but none of them would forget it. Because this was the night Diana Sawyer showed the world that no title, no status, no amount of privilege gives anyone the right to be cruel. This was the night a talk show host stood up to a prince and won not through force or aggression, but through unwavering commitment to a simple principle. Everyone deserves respect. Everyone. And that includes the woman sitting in the host's chair, holding the microphone, asking the questions. She matters too. Her dignity matters too, and she was willing to risk everything to prove it. As the final camera shut off and the crew began breaking down the set, one thing was abundantly clear. This was a moment that would be talked about for years to come, not because of the spectacle, not because of the celebrity involved, but because of what it represented. The courage to stand up, the strength to set boundaries, the wisdom to know that some battles are worth fighting, even when the opponent seems untouchable. Diana Sawyer had fought that battle, and she had won.